Good morning. We are getting ready to look at the markets. Actually, just uploaded a trade review video from our trades yesterday in the room. So if you're interested in that, you can take a look at the YouTube channel. That should be ready pretty soon. So let's take a look. Really nice rally over the past couple days here. So, I think we have to be sort of aware that we've had a lot of big movement and we might need a little bit of more significant retracement, or we might need to balance a little bit and have potentially a range day. So just keep that in mind. So without even looking at price action, just, you know, usually we only have so many really strong rallying days in a row, but that's not to say we can't have a third one. Just be aware, right? Just be um, be aware of it. That's all I guess all you can say. Yesterday wasn't exactly a strong rally day. We had a nice strong push in the morning, and then things went kind of in this slow grind upward. But we were able to sort of anticipate that because we had been watching this high volume zone, and we had the short taken off it. We had a pre-market short taken off it that we put in the trade room, and then sort of getting into that, you can always sort of expect, right? If you're stuck in the middle of a high volume zone, that either you're going to blast through it and get out of it, or you're going to grind. And that's what we did yesterday. We really were just grinding. And a lot of it was just getting through. We had 2 points of high volume in that area when we looked at it. One was, here, let me go on a smaller time frame, you can see better. One was kind of right where the volume started, right? And then the other was this one right here. So you can see, like, the smaller time frame we go on, the more detailed that profile is going to be. And like on a 1 minute, you can see that we had basically we had two high volume nodes. We had one kind of right there at the start that was almost just as big, and then this other one right here. And so both of those created a bit of resistance. The first one was where we took the short in the pre-market, and then the second one was where, like, all kind of late morning and early afternoon we were stuck. It was right under that level. That's right where that high volume was. And when we finally pushed above it and then came back and did a retest, we took a long off of that in the room, and that got us up above that resistance finally. And that's kind of where we are now, right? So with that in mind, and again, just kind of looking at this from a big picture standpoint, there's more volume up here, right? There's still significant volume up here that we need to be aware of. There's this chunk right here, and that certainly is significant. Certainly something we want to be aware of, and that's kind of where we're stuck right now. And you can see you really could have taken a short off of that. Um, and then there's just still a little bit more up here that we probably are gonna, even if we kind of bounce off this short level, um, we're probably still gonna get stuck a little bit. Now this still may act as some resistance, so there's a chance. Maybe I should keep this here. There's a chance that if we do range, that we could end up doing something like this where we're just, ranging at these previous highs. But I wouldn't be surprised if we do eventually break above this. I mean, this is a weak high here. This is not a strong rejection from this top. So we got a strong push down here, but this big picture sort of thing is I think this is ultimately going to get broken. So I definitely don't think I don't think anybody thinks we're at like all-time highs right now, and that we're going to just go into a bear market from here, right? So the obvious thing is the market goes up, and that's going to get taken out eventually. The question is just, when does it happen and how far do we pull back down? So we know we have this kind of old resistance, and it probably created some new resistance here too. So if we look at our profile, let's just move this thing over, and we can do a couple things. One, we can just take this whole rally, right? Just this whole thing. And you can see, again, big resistance down here, which I think we have shown that we've sufficiently tested all of this, right? Really nice retest there in the pre-market. So I think that's done. I think that's over with. I don't think we need to worry about that anymore. And then if we just kind of look at this, we have this really high volume area kind of right in here. So I think, 41 is a downside target right now. If you're trading pre-market and you're short, I think 41, I would probably take my profit off a little bit earlier, maybe around 45, to be honest. You can see there's a little bump in the volume right there too. But this whole area is basically right? It's the same thing, right? It created volume here and it created volume again as we got stuck there. So I think this is going to be support, continued support. And we can expect a test and then a potential push up from there. Depending when it happens, you could even consider going long off of something like this. I get your stop under all of this price action, and then you can take that to wherever you want. I think this as a target wouldn't be a bad idea. 64, 65 area as a target, definitely not a bad idea at all. So something like that could look pretty good. It's a big stop, right? So it's kind of more of like a, I don't know if I call it a swing trade, but depending on your account size, you may want to do it on micros. My day trade account is set to 65K right now, so I could do this with one contract and be within my 1% risk that I like to do on my day trades. So yeah, that's kind of, those are like the two kind of key levels. If we do come down, like, could we test this again? Sure, we can. I mean, this did already get tested, but it's still not a bad area to be aware of. You know, there's not a lot of volume on the retest, but, you know, again, still not a bad area to be aware of. So that was a good long off of there, basically right at the sort of early morning pre-market hours yesterday. Beyond that, if we break down below these lows, then, you know, I think this is our next target down here to retest this consolidation. And, you know, this is where our volume kind of starts in there. You can see it right there. There's more volume here. So all these levels may need to get tested depending on how aggressive you want to be with your entries. So that's something you can look at there for entry as well. But again, I'd put your stop under this big low down here. And then from there, if we continue to break down, you know, there is this rejection reversal here that created a bunch of volume. So I would expect some support there. But there's a chance that from this big picture chart, there's these 3 daily levels that we were looking at that are all within this consolidation. We tested the first one, we got long there, but we left room in the account in case we need to test these lower ones, we can add to our positions, right? And that's kind of what this reflects here, sort of like an average place to jump in. So, you know, we've had a good rally. Do we need to pull back? If we do, how deep are we going to pull back? And then on the way up, what can we expect for those retracements? That's basically the name of the game today. I think I would like a pullback to this area. Honestly, I think when we look at that sort of bigger picture chart, I think that would be that would kind of make sense, right? For us to, you know, we've come up, kind of retrace, come up. We made this deeper retracement, and then, you know, there's a lot of resistance up here that we maybe retest some of these lower areas before we go up. That would make sense to me, but, you know, only time will tell. We have to just see what the market gives us. But those are the levels that we're watching. So to the upside, I think 75 is still an area to be aware of. I also think 65 is an area to be aware of. So 65 would be the first one, then 75 is the way I should have phrased that. Sorry. Definitely something to be aware of. You can see neither of those have gotten tested. We tested a little bit of the lower end of this volume here on that 15-minute chart. Okay. So you can see that there just from that reversal. That's the volume node on that reversal that came in. If we take more of this stuff, you see other volumes within here as well, right? That's where we're kind of getting stuck right now. So but you can see how strong that was a really strong reversal. So that's going to be some resistance there. And then up here, this got tested a bit already. So let's get rid of some of this other noise. You know, this got tested a little bit already, where you zoom in here, and actually this should be really moved up. But you can consider this, you know, this got real close, and you can consider that tested. So that's a little bit more questionable for me, but that is something that I do want to be aware of is, you know, this sort of area there. And even though it did get tested, it still is possible that we come back and we test it some more. Let's see if I can grab that and pull it over. Do I still have it? Do I still have it? Nope. Oh, I do. Cool. So anyway, yeah, to the upside, 65, 75. To the downside, maybe some resistance around the 41 level, 41.50-ish. maybe some more resistance around 22.25, and then certainly we expect some resistance down at the 73 level and possibly into that 68.50 level. That whole kind of range is an area that we would expect a little bit of resistance there. So basically that's what we're looking at. Like if we break through this support here, which I don't, man, the bulls worked so hard yesterday to get through that I'd be really surprised. But if it happens and we do retest, I think we test this. This isn't a super strong level to me because it did get tested really significantly by that pullback in the pre-market yesterday. So I'm going to make that a little bit weaker. So I think if we break down again, I think a retest of 73 is a likely target to the downside, personally. But again, just based on all the price action, the bulls put in a lot of effort yesterday to get through that resistance. And just based on that, I think there's a decent chance that we hold these levels today and that we could have a possible range day after all of that bullish price action, all of that rally the past few days. Let's just take a look at our session volume. Okay, so we can see we're opening up. We might open up inside of yesterday's value. And if that does happen, by the way, so let's see here. Let's label this. We'll call this yesterday's value area high. Okay, if we open up below this, this is basically yesterday's POC too. So let's label this yesterday's POC, right? So I think a retest of this does become likely if we don't push up in the next, half hour and get back above that value area high. Then I would look for some sort of price action entry and maybe off of that same kind of level, off that value area high, use that as your risk, and then take this to the short side with a target of 41 or 42 maybe would be a nice target, 41.50, just to make sure you get filled. Pretty probable, right? Pretty probable little move to the downside. You can probably get 5 or 10 points off of that. But again, that's assuming that we open below 52, okay? So if we open below 52, and we show bearish price action, if there's any bearish entry, use 41 as a target. There's a high probability we test 41, even if we're going to resume our uptrend, okay? So, and again, use your own judgment. Like, I'm not telling you, don't just trade it blindly because I'm giving you these ideas. These are just trade ideas, right? Use your own judgment, use your own account management, right? And make sure it's a trade that you personally are comfortable with, where you put your risk and where you put your target, all of that, where you put your entries. That's all your own decision, not mine, okay? That's what I'm looking at for this morning. And I'm going to be in the trade room at dpmtrades.com. You can join us there if you want to trade with us. And otherwise, I will check in with you guys tomorrow morning.